tough defense.
Are pretty cool, too.
It's something you see every day.
The Kentucky Broadcasters Best Digital Product Award winner.
I love those people.
Ball game over.
YourSportsEdge.com.
Hey besties, it's your girl Jo from Jo & Co Boutique in Eddyville, and we are proud to support the Pledge of Allegiance on WPKY.
Shopping can be overwhelming. At Jo & Co Boutique, it's their priority to get to know you. Enjoy a personal, stress-free shopping experience, making you feel valued as a customer and person. Jo & Co is a size-inclusive boutique carrying clothing and gift favorites such as Judy Blue, Vintage Havana, Savannah Jane, and Kendra Scott. Located on Fairview Avenue in Eddyville, or shop joandcoboutique.com.
Hey besties, it's your girl Jo. Can't wait to see you at the boutique.
If you really enjoy the stories you hear on Traveling the Bluegrass, we'd like to invite you to listen to the whole visit uncut. Just type youragadge.com into your browser. You'll find Traveling the Bluegrass uncut stories in long form, so you don't miss a thing. You'll also find lots of ag news and farm pictures from across the Commonwealth. You can also find all the Kentucky communities that Traveling the Bluegrass can be found. Remember to visit youragadge.com.
For 71 years, WPKY has been your proven source for information, news, and sports. As we continue our legacy, join us weekdays at 6:30, 7:30, noon, and 5, plus 24/7 when you need it at WPKYonline.com and worldwide on the free WPKY app. The complete coverage you deserve from a proven partner. No fees, the way it should be. We are 1580 103.3 WPKY. It's time for your SportsEdge.com sideline report with Todd Griffin. Talking sports and more. You're on 1580 103.3 WPKY and worldwide at WPKYonline.com. Here's your host, Todd Griffin.
Good morning, everyone. The Sideline Report is on the air from 1035 West Main Street in Princeton, the WPKY studios. Thanks for tuning in this morning. Big football game coming up on Friday night out at Tiger Stadium. The Tigers hosting the Murray High Tigers. Winner of that game is likely the number 2 seed in the 1st District of Class 2A, and that would mean a playoff game at home in the first round of the postseason. We'll talk about that coming up a little bit later on. We've got Scott Brown of YourSportsEdge.com who is going to join us, so stay with us as we continue here on the Sideline Report on 1580 103.3 WPKY.
Need cash fast? Contact ABC Finance now.
The holiday season is right around the corner, and for many, this can be a financially stressful time of year.
Don't spend the season worried about the impending holiday expenses. Visit ABC Finance.
This is Savannah Seymour at the Princeton ABC Finance location.
This is Todd Morris at the Hopkinsville location.
We can help you spend the holiday season making memories with family and friends instead of stressing over finances.
At ABC Finance, we provide loans up to $15,000.
We are locally owned and staffed, and decisions are made quickly, usually within an hour.
No appointment is needed. Walk-ins are welcome.
You can even give us a call, and we will take your application over the phone.
Or apply online at abcfinanceonline.com.
Our commitment is to make the loan process quick, easy, and stress-free. We can even consolidate all loans into one easy payment. For more information and for great money and credit tips, like ABC Finance on Facebook.
All loans subject to normal credit approval.
Do you want to get into the best shape of your life? Okay, let's be honest. You just want to get into some kind of shape. Then now's the time to get to Trilogy Performance Sports and take advantage of their $100 monthly family plan. This offer allows every member of the family living in the house to use the facilities at Trilogy as well as join the classes. What a deal! Don't wait. Get in shape. This offer is only for the month of September, so start exercising now and run to Trilogy Performance Sports to sign up. For more information, go to trilogyperformancesports.com.
Hi, this is Daniel Ingram with H&R AgriPower. Take care of your property with equipment you can count on, like the Kubota BX and L Series compact tractors. Part of our under 100 horsepower tractor lineup, rated number 1 for reliability. And Z Series mowers and Sidekick utility vehicles where durability meets speed. Visit H&R AgriPower, your local Kubota dealer, for a demo today.
Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer. Take a test drive at your Kubota dealer. H&R AgriPower, Eagle Way, Hopkinsville.
Life is filled with moments. Moments we share with those we love, worry about, and strive to protect the most. At Woodman Life, we provide life insurance and retirement products to help protect you and your family so that you can enjoy all the moments to come.
This is Josh Ray, your local Woodman Life agent. Come see us at 1009 West Main Street or give us a call at 365-6111.
Certain eligibility and age restrictions apply. Woodman of the World Life Insurance Society, Omaha, Nebraska.
This is the Sideline Report on 1580 103.3 WPKY. Thanks for tuning in on this Thursday morning. We were originally scheduled to have Steve Springer of the Murray Ledger and Times on with us this morning and talk about the Caldwell County Murray football game coming up on Friday, but Steve is under the weather this morning, so he's unable to join us. Hope he gets to feeling better. But that means we get to spend more time this morning with Scott Brown of YourSportsEdge.com. Scott joins us on the phone this morning, and Scott, a busy morning over there in Cadiz.
Right, the Tree County equivalent to the Princeton Black Patch going on this weekend, the Ham Festival. Always big time. Thousands of people descend upon downtown Cadiz and celebrate the country ham, something that dates back decades in Tree County. So, yeah, they one of the few times you'll ever see me up for breakfast.
Well, we're glad you could join us a little bit earlier on the Sideline Report this morning and talked about a big football game coming up at Caldwell County this week with Murray High coming into town. But Trigg County also celebrating a really good football season going on for you guys.
They are. They got a little bit of a reality check with Paducah Tillman a couple of weeks ago. But, as is true with just about any sport, Tillman's Tillman. And it doesn't matter if Tillman's 0-6 or 2-4 or 4-2. Tillman's Tillman. And they have just an abundance of athletes that makes it hard to match up with. And Trigg found that out. Didn't play a bad game, pretty much. Just had some defensive issues that cost them. But, at the end of the day, the season's not over. And they still have a district game tomorrow night with Webster County and then a big one at Union County next week. And I was talking with the Webster County radio guy yesterday, and this is a year where the cross-districting format for not only Trigg County, but for Tillman and Union County really benefits Class 3A District 1 because District 2 is not as strong as they've been in the past. Glasgow is the preseason favorite, and they're in third place right now. They may have to go on the road in the first round of the playoffs. Hart County has never won a regular season district title. If they win tomorrow night, it'll be their first. And earlier this year, they beat Glasgow. First time since 1987 they've beaten them. So, one loss doesn't define your season. And I think the same thing holds true in Caldwell County's district. In the past, you're probably going to face Murray in the first round of the playoffs. Now, there's a chance that you'll see a McLean County team or maybe a Hancock County team or somebody like that, or even, down the road, down the line a little bit, somebody like a Todd County that they match up better with.
Yeah, one thing we were going to talk about is that Friday's game for Caldwell County is basically for a number 2 seed. The winner seems like they're in great shape for that number 2 seed, but Caldwell thought it was in good shape last year when it went down to Murray and picked up a win, and then Murray went and upset Mayfield, and then we went to that RPI thing, and Murray, by just a razor-thin margin, got the home game over Caldwell County, and that makes a pretty big difference in the playoffs.
Well, sure it does. playing at home and playing at the road is a very big deal. And it really holds true this year because, you know, we talk about the competitive status of the other districts, but at the same time, you know, you may have to go on the road to McLean County. You may have to go on the road to Hancock County. You know, Trigg may have to go on the road to Casey County, which is near Danville in the first round of the playoffs. You know, so while the competition, you match up a little better competition-wise, that's a heck of a road trip just for a first-round playoff game. So by all means, home field in that first round is crucial.
Yeah, I'm really hoping to avoid the trip to Hancock County. McLean County's not bad. Butler County, you know, that's Interstate Parkway most of the way, so that's not really a bad trip, but I'm not sure I'm looking forward to that Hancock County game. So I would really like a home playoff game that first week. And, you know, Trigg County is kind of in the same boat over in the other district. You know, Caldwell's got Mayfield and Murray they have to contend with. Well, Trigg County's looking at Tillman and Union County, and Union County may be having their best year in 30 years.
I think that they're the best team in the district right now. I think they're better than Paducah-Tillman. Haven't seen Tillman. If you remember Corey Robinson at Lone Oak, you know, he set the national record with 91 or 92 touchdown passes the year that Lone Oak surprised everybody and advanced to the Class 4A state championship game, one of the first years of the six-class format. Well, Corey Robinson is the offensive coordinator at Paducah-Tillman, and it looked just like a Corey Robinson performance against Trigg County. Jack James, the quarterback for Tillman, completed 21 passes. I don't think he threw the ball farther than 20 yards on any of them. It's just dinks and dunks and crossing patterns and sideline throws and you know, like I said, Tillman's Tillman, but Union County defensively, I think, is a little bit better. And you know, the move to Class 3A has not been a good one for Trigg County. They have only won one playoff game in the 10 years that they've been in Class 3A. They've only got to host one playoff game during that time, and it's usually resulted in trips to South Warren. It's resulted in trips to Elizabethtown. It's resulted in playoff trips to Paducah-Tillman. So from a competitive standpoint, the move to 3A has not been a good one for Trigg County, but unfortunately for them, they're in 3A for a while, and there's a district realignment coming up for the next 4 years, and there's a lot of eyes on whether or not Tillman will bump to 4A and whether or not a team like a Hopkins Central bumps down to Class 3A. And then there's also a look at whether or not, you know, Crittenden County bumps back up to Class 2A. So there's a lot of schools that are on that fence enrollment-wise that could affect their football status for the next 4 years.
Yeah, I think Caldwell County is pretty well entrenched in 2A right now. I'm not really sure how schools like Fort Campbell and Ballard Memorial set, though, when it comes to enrollments and where they might end up.
Well, it's been my experience that when there is a world crisis, the enrollment at Fort Campbell usually stays the same because there's not a lot of movement. You know, whenever there's a deployment of troops overseas, the families tend to stay at Fort Campbell, and there's not a lot of transferring out. So I think Fort Campbell may be set where they're going to be at for a couple of years, and that's going to be Class 2A. But like I said, I'm curious to see if Crittenden County kind of stays in 1A or is bumped up. You know, Tillman's another one to keep an eye on. Hopkins Central's one to keep an eye on, and so is in this end of the state, Marshall County and Graves County. Those are two that Marshall could move down to 5A and Graves could move up. It just depends on what the average enrollment is. And the thing is this, you know, they take the average enrollment, and you're talking about using years where COVID was a factor, where you had kids drop out of school and do the either the homeschool or whatever. And, you know, there's a lot of school districts that are kind of battling a little bit of an enrollment decrease because of COVID. And so teams that maybe had just barely got into 2A or just barely had enough for 3A, they could drop back down. And you may have a school that was 10 to 11 schools deep into a class make a drop because of, homeschool numbers. So I think this is one of the more watched alignment cycles that Kentucky's had in a while.
Now, going back to the Class 3A First District, that Paducah-Tillman-Union County matchup is this week, right?
It is.
So that's a pretty big one.
Is.
And Dennis Stevens and I have a nice, shiny, brand-new Titleist golf ball on the line on that one. So, I've got Union, he's got Tillman, so we'll see how that goes.
I think you're going to have a Titleist golf ball in your golf bag next week.
I just hope it's not like a pink one or something.
Last year, Union beat Tillman in the regular season, and then Tillman turned around and got them in the playoffs. So the same thing could very well happen this year, especially with the cross-district team, because there's a chance that Union and Tillman could meet again for what we now go back to having the region champions again. So that would be in the region championship. There's a good shot that that could happen. But, it's and I think the Caldwell-Murray game is going to be an interesting one as well. There's a good chance you could be out of there by 9 o'clock.
Yeah, it was interesting. A couple of weeks ago, Murray played down at Fort Campbell, and we mentioned the tweet on the show a couple of times that it was actually Steve Springer from the Murray Ledger and Times said that Murray was using its air raid offense. It had thrown the ball 5 times.
Right. They only threw the ball 13 times all of last year. It's a kind of like a triple. It's like a triple option offense. Kind of what it's like a. I don't say it's a single wing because it's not, but it's an option offense that resembles the wing T in some ways, and they just run the ball. They just line up and run. It's the old Herman Boone line from Remember the Titans. It's 4 plays. It's like Novocaine. Just give it a while and it works. And they were able to run the ball effectively against Trigg County, but defensively, this is not a Murray team as we've seen out of them in past years defensively. Trigg was able to throw the football well against them. In fact, that's kind of what won them the game. Murray also made some bad penalties at some bad times, and that helped the Trigg County cause as well. So they had some key people graduate. They've got some good people back. Gage Sokolowski's back in the backfield. Xavier Biggers is back in the backfield. That's their 2 leading rushers. Colin Wilson is their quarterback. He can throw the football, and he's not a bad runner. I mean, he ran for over 100 yards against Trigg County, but they did not complete a pass against the Wildcats. So they're still a very one-dimensional offense, but when they do complete a pass, it usually goes for a lot of yards, and it usually goes for a touchdown. I think it's 5 of 9 or 4 of 8 of the quarterback's completions have gone for touchdowns.
Yeah, that's pretty good percentage right there. Caldwell County should be an interesting matchup then with the Murray defense because Caldwell's offense has had its struggles this season, but it feels like the last 3 weeks they've started to figure things out just a little bit. Put the ball in the air 21 times down at Fort Campbell, so the Tigers are still a team trying to find themselves, but I think Caldwell County is a lot better right now than they were 7 or 8 weeks ago.
And that's usually true, I think, just as an outsider looking at what Caldwell does. They offensively, they get better as the year goes on. It seems that way every year. And, in the past few years, that Trigg County game's been the last game, and that's always been a shootout. It's been a basketball score a couple of times, and that lays, credence to that argument that, they do get some things figured out. And that's not a bad thing for Caldwell County because really, if Murray's going on past, film, especially early in the year, and now Caldwell's throwing the ball well, that may have Murray to have to rethink its defensive game plan a bit because now it's like, all right, now they're throwing the football well. So we, maybe before we were going to have to, stack the line and stop the run. But now that they're throwing the football, we may have to think. And like I said, Trigg had some success throwing the football, especially downfield on Murray.
Well, like I said, Caldwell got Murray down there last year during the regular season, but then Murray kind of threw the district into, that three-way tie situation with the upset at Mayfield. I'm not sure I foresee an upset at Mayfield this year for anyone, but that's always a possibility. But it looks to me like the Caldwell-Murray winner will get the number 2 seed. The loser will be the number 3. And then you've got Ballard Memorial going to Fort Campbell, I think, next week. And the winner there gets the 4 seed, and the loser misses the playoffs.
Right, and of course your reward this year, instead of going to Mayfield, you're going to have to go to Owensboro Catholic, and I don't know that that's much better other than you get a good chance to eat barbecue before the ball game if you go there. But like I said, I think that Caldwell's in a better opportunity. So is Murray. I think those two schools are in a better position to win in the postseason with the cross-districting format now, because outside of Owensboro Catholic, there's not really a strong team over in District 2. Used to it was Hancock County, but McLean beat them, and then Butler, I think, beat McLean, and so they've got some three-way tie issues. Todd County can still get in if it wins its last 2 games, and that, too, is a 5-team district. So either Todd or Butler, McLean, or Hancock are going to be out of the playoffs. And so I think that, I think Caldwell would much rather go to a Hancock or a McLean and play than they had go back to Murray and play, even though this year's Murray team is not quite as good. Of course, if that's the case, you're going to have, if you're the 2 seed, you're going to have Owensboro Catholic in the second round. If you're the 3 seed, you're going to have Mayfield in the second round. So either or, but if I'm Caldwell, I like the first round possibilities of McLean and Hancock County, or even Butler County, depending on how that goes. And as you said, with the RPI, it's hard to say. And I like the fact they're using an RPI. I just don't like the RPI that they're using.
Yeah, the formula is not exactly right. It seems like it could be more accurate. I think at some point you have to put in margin of victory in the formula someplace, because if you play an out-of-state team right now, you could play an 0-10 team or a 10-0 team, and it counts exactly the same on your RPI.
Excuse me. It does, and I don't trust any RPI that does not use margin of victory. I'm sorry, but a 1-point win over Murray is not the same thing as a 10-point win over Mayfield, even if they've played the same people. And so the RPI, it's more based on who you played and who you beat, and then who they beat, and then who those teams beat. And the KHSAA is hesitant to go to a margin in the RPI because they're afraid teams might start running up the score. Well, the simple solution to that is that you cap it at the running clock. You've got coaches now that are onside kicking up 29 points because if they get the ball back and score, it triggers a running clock. Now, is that running up the score? Can you run up the score to get to a running clock is what I'm asking. So if you're up 25 points and you onside kick it the next 2 times to get the ball back and score in order to trigger a running clock, is that running up the score? Well, they're already doing that now. So when it comes to the RPI, just cap it. When you get to the running clock, then that's the cap right there. You doesn't matter if you beat a team 35 or 85, you cap it at that 35 for RPI purposes, and you got to put in a margin of victory, and you've got to put in home or away. There's got to be extra emphasis on whether that game was won at home or won on the road. If the KHSAA would put those 2 things on the RPI in addition to strength of schedule, the RPI would be a much more accurate thing. Because, 2 weeks ago, Trigg was number 2 in RPI in Class 3A, and Tillman beats them 33 points. that shows you the flawed system that the RPI is.
Well, I do think the RPI probably is better than the old system where you started counting wins of defeated opponents, because that just depended on who you played and how good a season they were having.
Well, and what happened is that you would have teams that would schedule light because they knew that if they won those games that, you're going to get credit for wins. And so that system penalized the teams who played a tough schedule. And so the teams that played the light schedule always benefited because they had more wins than, anyone else. And, even if the teams they beat only had 2 wins, if you get 6 wins, that's 12 points, and you may play a good Hoptown team and beat them, and Hoptown go 8-2. But if that's, you beat a team that is got 1 win and a team that's got 1 win, then you don't have enough points to take over the team that beat 6 2-win teams. So, I think the RPI is the way to go. I just don't like what they're using for that.
We're talking this morning with Scott Brown of YourSportsEdge.com. We need to get to a break here on the Sideline Report, but stay with us. We'll talk more high school sports right after this here on 1580 103.3 WPKY.
Brantley Furniture, family owned and located in the heart of downtown Princeton. Jeannie and Megan invite you to come in and check out their selection of furniture, bedding, and gifts. Financing is available.
Your Weather Edge Weather Center forecast. We have favorable conditions for a wildfire this afternoon, and that indicates a red flag warning from the National Weather Service. Sunny skies, high of 68, west winds that could be as high as 30 miles an hour. Then tonight, mostly clear skies, low around 39. And then Friday, we close the work week with sunny skies, high of 73, another blustery afternoon, winds out of the west-southwest. Could be as high as 30 miles an hour. And then Friday night, partly cloudy with a low around 52. But back this afternoon, again, a red flag warning from the National Weather Service. Sunny skies and 68 degrees.
Running a successful business takes planning, patience, and a whole lot of elbow grease. We believe you have what it takes in spades. That's why First Southern National Bank is here to support the growth of your business with solutions for working capital loans, online services, checking, and treasury management. Prioritizing relationships built on true care for you and your employees is what makes our approach different. Get to know us at fsmb.net, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Ready to brave the challenge? Need a kickstart to your career in criminal justice? The Kentucky State Penitentiary is seeking motivated individuals who are up for the challenge, hiring correctional officers in Eddyville at the state's only maximum security correctional institution. Applicants must be a high school graduate or have GED, 20 years of age, drug screening testing and background checks required. Apply online, Facebook, or at careers.ky.gov or call 270-388-2211 extension 253. Kentucky State Penitentiary, an equal opportunity employer, male, female, disabled.
We are back on the Sideline Report at 1580 103.3 WPKY. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday morning. We're talking this morning with Scott Brown of YourSportsEdge.com. And Scott, the fall sports season for high school teams is starting to wind down. We've had a busy fall over at YourSportsEdge.com.
It really has. I don't know if it's because we were busier this fall or if this is the first fall sports season that is fully back to normal without COVID cancellations and schedules being switched around. We're still seeing schedules switched around because of the referee shortage, but you're right. I've not seen my home a whole lot in the last 3 months, and so it's on the move quite a bit, out covering things, but it's been a fun one. It's been another fun season in the fall.
Yeah, it seemed like for a year or so there, we were never really sure where we were going each day or even what football teams would be playing that week. We saw some games scheduled on Thursday and the teams would play on Friday.
Yeah, it and a lot of that had to do with because of COVID. You know, the KHSAA agreed to suspend the contract penalty for canceling games. You know, usually when you draw up a contract, it's usually a home and away, and if you cancel the game, there's like a $500 penalty. Well, because of COVID, they waived that. So I think you had some schools that really took advantage of that, and I think there were some schools that said, "Oh, hey, we got COVID," when I don't know that they necessarily did. I think one of Trigg County's football opponents did that last year, and didn't make the trip to Cadiz as a result. But haven't had that this year. We've had some games canceled and a few moved because of referee shortage in soccer, but volleyball's gone off without a hitch, and so have all the other sports. And of course, fall is the busiest sports season there is. And after this week, we'll have another sport drop off of our radar, so to speak. Golf that wrapped up last week, and region soccer wraps up this week, and then you get into postseason volleyball next week.
Yeah, you mentioned golf there, and when you look at the state tournament, which was played at Bowling Green, especially the girls' state tournament, Western Kentucky really stacked up nicely in that event.
Yeah, 5 of the top 10 individual golfers came from the first 4 regions, came from that one semi-state that was held at Owensboro. This year, they did semi-state different. They did the state tournament different. It seemed to make for a quicker round of golf at the state tournament, the final round in Bowling Green. Two things that really stand out with the format, and I'm trying to be a Debbie Downer because most of the people I talk to seem to like it. But, well, actually the 3 things. The 3 things that were really kind of difficult was that extra semi-state round meant that you had to go out and play golf at a couple of places you may not have played during the season. And, the Owensboro Country Club's charging $80 for a practice round to play right before the tournament. And then they're not providing any spectator carts and charging handicapped people $42 to get around on the course. To me, it seemed like a money grab for them to do. And, of course, people are like, well, they have to shut their course down for 2 days. Nobody's putting a gun to their head and saying you have to host this event. You chose to do that. And so to try and make money off of it at the expense of kids, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. And I'm not sure that was done at other courses or not. And unfortunately, you had an incident where a region champion did not make it to the state tournament. Landon Hunt from Christian County won the Region 2 title and then just had one bad hole at the semi-state round, and it cost him. He missed out qualifying for the state final round by 1 shot because of one bad hole. And so here you've got a region champion that didn't make it to the final rounds. And then you look at who won the girls' title. Madison Central did not win their region, and they didn't win semi-state either, yet they still advanced through and then end up winning the state championship. So a couple of oddities there. Under the old format, Hunt goes to the state tournament. Madison Central does not. But I think all in all, I think the quality of play at the state tournament, the final rounds in Bowling Green was better. And if you ask any golfer, they hate to stand around and wait for the group in front of them to hit. And impatient golf is not good golf. And that's what they were having in Bowling Green the last few years. There would just be a backup, and you're just waiting 15, 20 minutes between shots, and not holes, but shots. And so I think that's going to help the pace of play. There's still a few bugs to be worked out with it, but all in all, like you said, Trinity Beth of Marshall County wins her first state tournament. Catherine Brown is in the top 10 for the 3rd straight year. She finished 2nd. Kara Tucker of Madisonville, a top 10 finish. And like I said, 5 of the top 10 golfers are from Bowling Green or West.
Yeah, my understanding is that extra round next year, the semi-state, is going to be at Calvert City Country Club. So, the first region golfers might have a little advantage come next year.
I think so, and it's interesting. I'm at Owensboro covering the semi-state round, and there are golfers from Bardstown. There was a golfer from Anderson County, and there was a golfer from Woodford County playing in this semi-state in Owensboro. And then you look up, and Lexington Catholic's playing on their home course. Well, last time I looked at the map, Woodford County and Anderson County are right there next to Lexington, but apparently the line is split between them. So instead of going 25 or 30 minutes down the road to play in a semi-state, they have to make an overnight trip to Owensboro to play.
Well, and the golf regions are just a little different than other sports. That's why there were 3 semi-states. There were only 12 regions in golf across the state, while most sports have 16. And it ends up being a unique situation for your sports edge because we've got 3 schools in the first region and some other schools in the second region and another school in the fourth region. So we've got a lot of different places that we've got teams headed to once the golf postseason rolls around.
Correct. Yeah, when it comes time to cover a region tournament, we've got 3 places to be at with, covering Todd County Central. They're up in Region 4, which is a tough region in itself because that's the Bowling Green schools. But golf is a sport that has really taken off. I'm afraid, though, that looking at the numbers, that we're kind of experiencing a numbers issue once again. And I would hope that local golf courses and communities would do what they can to help spur the growth of golf. But if they see it as a money grab and try and charge these kids and their parents every chance they can, whether it's for range balls or whatever else, then I have a feeling that, we kind of went through a bad lull of golf there for a while. And you had players, but you didn't have teams. And there were very few teams that would show up at the region and play, just a bunch of individual golfers. We may be headed back to that unless, we can, and it's a shame because I think the youth golf movement is done wonders. You've got, the junior PGA, you've got the Bluegrass Golf Tour, you've got the Go Junior Golf. They're doing outstanding work to promote the game. But, when you get to be a teenager and all of a sudden, you're getting charged, every time you go to the driving range or whatever else. I know a lot of courses, oh, you're on the high school team? Well, here's a bucket of balls, help yourself. Or, sure, you can go out and play 9 holes and work on your game. And that's not the case everywhere now.
Well, you don't want to turn those young golfers away because at some point they're going to be the ones that are members of your clubs and whatnot. And if you don't have those people filling those spots, the clubs aren't going to last very long. So you're doing damage to the game at that point.
Well, golf's a lifelong game. I mean, if you play baseball, once you're done in high school or college, that's it. The only thing that's left for you is men's softball. But golf's a lifelong game, and if you play it in high school, you're usually playing it in college and, even afterwards, and you play it up until your years. And you're exactly right. There's a lot of people that I talked to and saw that vowed never to return to the Owensboro Country Club after the semi-state round and said, if I lived in Owensboro, I would drive to Henderson to be a member of their country club as opposed to Owensboro because of the damage they did in just that one day. And so, yeah, if you turn it into a big, and I understand they got to make money and, golf's not free. I understand that, but, you got to plant those seeds for future membership into your club. And by discouraging a kid or a family, by charging them every chance you get, that doesn't really help anyone.
Well, the main thing I remember from the boys' first region golf tournament this year was that it was literally 100 degrees the day they played down at Paducah. So maybe we need to push the season back. I'm not sure.
Well, see, under the old way, that they wouldn't have played that week. The semi-state round would have been region tournament week. So under the old way, they wouldn't have had a region tournament that week. It would have been the following week. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they want to push it back into October. What I really like, though, about the way the schedule fell this year was you had state golf tournaments one week. You've got region soccer the next week, and then district volleyball starts the week after. And there's not a lot of overlapping like we've had in past years where you're trying to figure out, do I cover region soccer? Do I cover district volleyball? And, oh, yeah, we still have to send someone to the state golf tournament. So I like the fact that the fall schedule is spread out a little bit this year. And they don't want to mess with the golf calendar with the state tournament being the first week of October.
Yeah, we are actually to the championship matches of the second region soccer tournaments, and honestly, I think when everybody saw the draw, we probably have the finals in both boys and girls that everyone was anticipating.
I would agree with the boys. There was one of three teams I felt could have come out of that side of the girls' bracket that Trigg County did. Trigg is having a fantastic year. It's kind of a record-setting year, and you look at what that soccer program has done, and it has been the most consistent girls athletic program at Trigg County over the last decade. They make the region tournament every year, and them and basketball are the only two sports that have ever won a region tournament game in girls sports at Trigg. Incredibly, softball and volleyball never have. So what they're doing is it's good to see a school record in wins this year. Only their second ever win over University Heights. That's a team to watch out for in the future. They had no seniors. Started 6 freshmen against Trigg the other night, and they have an outstanding middle school class coming up next year just to add to that. But no shock at Henderson, and that was a great match between Henderson and Madisonville the other night. Madisonville would score, and within the next minute or two, Henderson would answer. And Madisonville would take the lead, and Henderson would answer. And then it went to the penalty kick round, and once you are stopped, but especially once the opposing goalie makes a save in the penalty kick round, all of the momentum goes to that team, and all of the pressure falls on the other team. That's exactly what happened the other night. Chloe Honeycutt made a fantastic save on Madisonville's second shot. Henderson bangs in the shot. They go up 2-1, and then the next girl from Madisonville, her shot hits the crossbar, and now they've missed 2 in a row, and it was over at that point. But, death taxes in Henderson County in the girls' region soccer final. That's pretty much a given every year.
Yeah, the guys are playing up in Henderson this week, and of course, I think Madisonville North Hopkins has been kind of the favorite all year, and then Henderson County right behind them on the boys' side, and those two will meet tonight for the championship.
Yeah, Henderson has a bit of advantage playing on their home field. Madisonville, I think, has a little better resume. Henderson got past a pretty good UHA team. UHA, very good defensively. But Madisonville can score. And so that's going to be an interesting one to watch. I'm curious to see how that plays out. I think today's the day where they announce the state matchups as well. So kind of curious to see how it plays out for the second region winner. In both, in past years ago, you could have the best team that you ever had and could win district and region, and your reward was to either go to Marshall County or Greenwood or Bowling Green to play. And now they're kind of have lifted that a little bit, and you're kind of getting to play other teams in the state, which is how it should be.
Yeah, interesting that Madisonville chose not to play Henderson County during the regular season, so maybe some gamesmanship there to say, hey, we don't want you to see exactly what we have.
There's always gamesmanship involved when Madisonville's involved. I think that's exactly right. And I don't think that has benefited them well in past years because, that's an important game. That's not a game where you go in and say, we don't care if we win or lose. We just kind of want to see what the other team does. No, you're going in to win. You want to send a message that, hey, we can beat you and plant that seed. But then you also give the other team a game plan to draw up against you in the region when it really matters. And so we saw Union County do that to Trigg County in football a couple years ago. Union ran a very, very, very vanilla offense in the regular season game, and Trigg beat them. And then when it come time for the playoff game, they ran a totally different defensive set and a totally different offensive set, and they won the playoff game. Well, they won the one that mattered. So, I think there's a little bit of gamesmanship going on there.
We're talking this morning with Scott Brown of YourSportsEdge.com and WKDZ Radio. We need to get to another break on the show, but we'll come back and talk more right after this. Stay tuned here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
Health First Community Health Center. Your health is their first concern. Located on the Eddyville Road, Princeton.
Your Weather Edge Weather Center forecast: the National Weather Service has issued a red flag warning, which indicates favorable conditions for wildfires. This afternoon, sunny skies and a high of 68. West winds that could be as high as 30 miles an hour, and low humidity. Those are the three factors needed for wildfire conditions. Then tonight, mostly clear skies with a low around 39. And then Friday, sunny skies with a high of 73 and another windy day. West-southwest winds could be as high as 30 miles an hour. But back to this afternoon, a red flag warning, crisp and 68 degrees.
Hello, I'm Jason Redford, Community President, First Southern National Bank. When First Southern National Bank says we believe in you, it means we also believe certain things about you. We believe that you want to live a life of margin, where you can balance spending, saving, and giving. We believe that you want to make wise financial decisions to enable that kind of living. Because we believe in you, we are here for you every step of the way. Visit fsmb.net to learn more. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
At Trice's, they're ordering it your way. How would you like to have a vehicle built just for you? Little things are important, like rich colors, big screens and displays, almost like watching TV. Exteriors with beautiful style and powerful engines that respond to the lightest touch on the accelerator. It's time to get what you want. Order your new ride and feel the thrill when you drive off the lot. Trice's in Princeton is the one-stop shop for everything your vehicle needs. For more information, visit tricehughes.com. That's tricehughes.com.
High quality education, best value education, the total college experience. Murray State University offers more than 140 academic programs and nearly 180 student organizations. Racers will discover more, do more, and become more. Join a special living and learning community while becoming the leaders of tomorrow. Visit admissions.murraystate.edu to schedule a campus visit or apply today.
This is the Sideline Report on 1580, 103.3 WPKY. We're talking this morning with Scott Brown of YourSportsEdge.com and WKDZ Radio. We've talked football and golf and soccer. Scott, volleyball district time is next week, and as you start looking at the second region, can anybody take down Madisonville North Hopkins? It looks like it's their region maybe to lose this year.
I've seen them twice, and they've been impressive both times I've seen them. One time they took down a pretty good University Heights Academy squad. I'm telling you, they've got two very good hitters in Caitlin Orange and Drea White, and they do a good job of finding them on the court, and they probably feed off momentum as good as any team there is in the region right now. I have not seen Henderson County. You can't rule them out. They're in a new coach this year, and haven't really seen them play. But as I said earlier, Tillman's Tillman. Well, Henderson's Henderson when it comes to girls sports. And I think the stat is that going back 4 years. I think it's going back 4 or 5 years. Henderson County has won every volleyball championship except one. Caldwell got them 1 year. They've won every softball championship, I think, except one or maybe two, and Madisonville got them. They've won every girls soccer region championship, and what's the other sport? Volleyball. Basketball. And they've won every basketball region championship except one. I mean, they're just the dominant girls program in the region right now, and you can't rule them out. But I will say that all of the wrestling around for position at the trough is going to be interesting, and what the other districts are able to come up with as far as a champion and a runner-up goes. And there's going to be some pretty good first-round matchups in the region tournament.
We will see Madisonville North Hopkins at the Community Activities Building next week. Caldwell County will host the 7th District Volleyball Tournament. Caldwell County and Hopkins County Central will play Monday night. The winner gets the top-seeded Lady Maroons in the championship game on Tuesday, so that will be interesting. And, Scott, it's kind of another situation like we saw in soccer. If Henderson County and Madisonville draw on one side of the regional tournament bracket, it kind of opens the door for somebody to slip in that other side and get to the championship match.
Well, you've got Henderson, University Heights is probably the one who's really hoping that happens. I think Crittenden County is the odds-on favorite to win the 5th district. And Crittenden and UHA have had a couple of good matches already this year. I think they've actually split their matches. So one or both of those teams could make a run. But then you've got Caldwell County that could be the spoiler. They would have to play either Crittenden County or UHA in the first round. So, that's the draw that everybody outside of Madisonville and Henderson County is wanting, for them to draw on the same side of the bracket, And, your old school people are like, well, you're going to have to play them teams at some point. That's very true. But when you play a team in a, all chips in the middle of the table type of game, then, you could get the NC State over Houston. You could get the Villanova over Georgetown. One game winner take all, who knows what can happen. And so, that's why, that's kind of a big deal when you get your two favorites draw on the same side of the bracket.
Well, Scott, we appreciate you coming on this morning and talking a lot of high school sports. Just one other question. How closely are you following the Major League Baseball playoffs? And at this point, who do you have in the World Series?
Well, being a Cubs fan, you kind of lose interest once August comes around most years. But I've said this from day one. I think the Houston Astros are going to be a tough out. I don't think the Yankees make it to the World Series. I think Houston is a team that is designed to be able to take them down. Major League Baseball is just praying it's not a Philadelphia-Seattle World Series because nobody will watch. But that would be an interesting one. I think the Astros, though, are the team that's best designed to come out of the American League. The National League, everybody, the Dodgers have the best team, but, they haven't won a World Series in a while, have they? I don't think they have. So, the teams that are best designed to win don't always make that happen. So if I had to make a prediction based on where we're at in the playoffs right now, I'll say it's going to be a matchup of former National League West rivals in Atlanta and Houston.
Yeah, interesting how that worked out. When the St. Louis Cardinals lose, my interest kind of wanes, and since the Cardinals are 1-9 in their last 10 playoff games, it has waned a lot lately. But I said before the season or before the playoffs started, Dodgers and Yankees. So I'm going with that 70s, retro,
right.
Retro World Series.
Yeah, throw back to the late 70s with Reggie Jackson hitting 3 home runs, and they met again in '81, and the Dodgers got some revenge. Although by that time, free agency had kind of dismantled the Yankees somewhat. They weren't the same Yankee teams that were in the late 70s. But, yeah, that's what Fox and all the Major League Baseball is hoping for, is Los Angeles, New York, for the ratings, of course, kind of like with the Celtics and the Lakers, go into the NBA Finals every year. But, it's going to be interesting. I'll probably start watching a little bit come World Series time just out of curiosity, but I don't know. Once college football begins, my interest in baseball kind of goes to the wayside a little bit, and that's not how it used to be. I used to love baseball and watched every game I could, and they went on strike in '94, and that kind of ruined it a little bit for me. And, you know, as I said, being a Cubs fan, you're pretty much done every year in August, you know. So, I've watched a little bit of ball in the postseason, but mostly it's been college football. So, but I still think Houston's got the team to beat. I just think they are set up to take down the big ones.
All right, Scott, thanks for coming on this morning. Appreciate you jumping on a little early with us today and being on the show all the way through the hour.
Not a problem, Todd. Appreciate it anytime, and I encourage everyone to go to yoursportsedge.com and check out the work that's being done by the kids. It's always good to be able to showcase their talents in the way that we do. And so, by all means, go to yoursportsedge.com for us.
That's Scott Brown of yoursportsedge.com and WKDZ Radio. This is Todd Griffin of yoursportsedge.com and WPKY Radio. That's going to wrap us up this morning on the Sideline Report. Thanks a lot for being with us here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
WPKY, Princeton.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. More inflation in September. The monthly consumer price index report from the Labor Department's out.
Month over month coming in at 0.4%. Year over year, 8.2%.